Yo, what's going on, y'all? It's Combo Breaker 99. I'm back with another video. All right, y'all, back with another discussion video here. Excuse the ambient sound in the background. You know, it's getting cold, so all the geese they're like flying south. It actually warmed up a little bit today, but I think they're getting prepared to fly south. So there's like a whole flock of them just flying by. But that kind of fits the ambiance. I'm just chilling right now, and this ain't a hostile video. You know how I do, so it fits the background, right? But yeah, I just wanted to go back and revisit Zhang Weili. This is how I do. I like to talk about different fighters and the technical aspect with them, and I want to give y'all something a little different. I know some of y'all are used to the 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 bashing of the fighters and just talking trash about them and whatever. But that's how it is. People are going to be fans of fighters. People are going to be haters of some fighters, right? But over here, I love the fight game. I love mixed martial arts. I love boxing, whatever it is. And when I study these fighters, I just like to look at it in a technical aspect, and this is my observation. So I just kind of want to revisit Zhang Weili because I find her to be a fascinating fighter, and the situation that she has been in over the past few weeks, I just kind of want to go back and, look at her as a fighter and the improvements that she tried to make and what she really needs to do moving forward, in my opinion, right? There's no right or wrong answer, right? Because I'm not in her corner. But after watching her fight this past Saturday, against Rose Namajunas, in which she uh, lost a split decision against Rose, and like I said, in my opinion, I thought Rose won the first time. I thought Zhang won the second time. And I think it's just one of those fights where it's going to always be up and down if you have an open mind. Of course, if you're a diehard fan of Rose, you're just gonna put up the wall and say no way, no how she didn't. Same with Zhang fans. If you feel like she won it, you're gonna put up the wall and say no way, no how she didn't. She didn't lose, she won, right? But like I said, I can see in some places where she lost the fight because if you're in a corner standpoint, like I like to look at these fights, you could see Zhang Wei losing the fight. Same with the Lauren Murphy JoJo fight. I felt JoJo won that fight against Lauren Murphy, but if I was in her corner, I'd have been like, if you lose, it's your own fault because you can't just bag a couple of rounds or 3 rounds and think the judges are gonna see it your way. Now you have to close the show. You can't leave any stone unturned. You know what I mean? You have to go in there and perform to your highest level. You can't just say, "Oop, got 1 through 3. Time to sit back, kick my feet up." No, you don't do that because again, you never know who's riding for that other fighter when it comes to judges. Judges are not the straightest of people, right? They're definitely not the straightest of people. So you have to be prepared for that. Like I said, you're not just fighting your opponent, you're fighting 3 judges, and sometimes you're fighting the referee, right? So with that being said, Zhang Wei Li, she made some slight improvements in her game, and some improvements were good, some were bad. But it was like I was telling some of y'all on the live stream the other day. I think that it shouldn't have been a case where she felt like she had to do this whole 180 and turn into a whole different fighter, or just throw everything out and then try to revamp yourself into 2.0. If best you want to be 1.5, you know what I mean? Like it's like apps, you know what I mean? Like some apps they like to upgrade slowly from 1.5 to 1.6 to 1.7 because they're working out little bugs. That's all you're doing, right? You don't want to take the whole some apps do that. Like that's what pisses people off. Like if you have a certain app like Amazon on your phone and they just like flip the whole search engine and flip the whole way you can pay your payments online, that would piss people off. Like if you went from straight from 1.2 to 2.0 to this whole new engine or an app, that would piss people off, right? And it wouldn't work. You would fail. So you have to kind of do it gradually at a little change at a time. So for Zhang Wei Li, it's not about being 2.0. It should just be about okay from 1.0 to 1.5. Let's add something new to our game and let's get acquainted with it. That's what it should have been for. So looking at what she was doing in this fight here, it didn't really work for her because she was going there with a familiar opponent that she hasn't really been able to master the first time around. So trying to go in there with a new style set, a new skill set that you're still a little bit a stranger to, it's not really going to work for you, right? It's not really going to walk you through fire like the old way would have. If you would have stuck with your old ways and just like taking away some of the bad habits, that kind of would have worked for you. Because when I look at her improvements, I say there were too many. If you ask me, just ask me straight up about her improvements. There were too many, especially when the first fight was too short. The first fight was too short to gauge on what doesn't work for a fighter like her. A total makeover going into a fight with a dangerous opponent like Rose was not a good idea. I think you're putting yourself at risk when you're still not sure that the changes you made are really going to work for you, right? You're not sure how that fighter is going to react to this new Zhang Weili, right? It would be better to just perfect what you used to have, right? You don't know how it's going to work for you, or the changes going to fit you, right? When it comes down to it, you have to give it more time than just 6 months. And like I said, I thought it'd been wise for her to take a couple of fights, just to hold hands with the style, grow with the changes and see if they are the perfect fit. Because honestly, I think when a person gets caught in the fashion that she did, it's going to change you regardless. It's going to change you regardless, whether for the good or for the bad. It's going to change your mental and your approach to fights. So that's a battle in itself. So, that's something you have to say, okay, was it everything else about me, or was it just that one little thing that I could change and still be me, right? That's why I say it's a battle. You have to fight that inner battle and then come to terms with it and say, okay, we just got caught. We have to accept that. So Henry Cejudo was right on that. Now, I thought it would have been a good idea for some of the things he was adding to her game and how they executed, but it just didn't work out that way. So that was the one thing I can agree with, where he said, you just have to accept getting caught, right? But yeah, like I said, it changes you regardless. It changes your mental. It changes your approach to fights. So that's a battle in itself. You have to fight to you have to fight to say, okay, my heart is here, but I'm tougher because I survived, right? That next time you go and you say, okay, look, I'm here. I'm still there. I'm still tough. I can overcome that. But the question is, what kind of changes do we make, or do you make, so that doesn't happen again? And really, that's all it should have been. That's all it should have been in their camp was, look, okay, let's look at this. What kind of changes do we have to make so that that doesn't happen again? Just in that moment, like, what is it about we did the first time that cost us the fight? It couldn't have been everything, because nothing else happened, right? They couldn't gauge it off her cardio, or her power, right? Or they couldn't really gauge it off her clinch fighting, her ground game at the time. So there was really no need to change. They should have just said, okay, this is what you did wrong. You tried to counter strike and fight at a range with a long, tall fighter. It was simple as that. That's all it was. So that was the only question they really needed to ask, and work from there. Which, like I say, going from 1.5 to 2.0 is such a drastic change for a fighter that was already at the top. It's like an old boxing match. My dad showed me, and I love the fight now because it's one of my favorite fighters, Terry Norris. Terry Norris versus Simon Brown. This was like from the early 90s. And Terry Norris, he'd been wanting this fight with Simon Brown for a long time. He felt like Simon Brown was, ducking him. The fight was always getting canceled and pushed back. Terry Norris kept training for the fight. So finally, when the contract got signed for the fight to happen, everybody thought Terry Norris was going to go in there and blast him out, knock him out, right? So Terry Norris, he goes in there, puts this pressure boxing style on him, from the jump, first round, and he's just throwing leather at him. He's throwing everything he has at him. And, Simon Brown is right there. Simon Brown is taking these best shots. And when Simon Brown throws these nice straight punches down the pipe, just ones and twos, he starts knocking Terry Norris down and hurting him and wobbling him at the end of every single round, literally. You know what I mean? So Terry Norris, he came in there with this mindset, this game plan to turn into this puncher all of a sudden. Because Terry Norris, he's more so known as a boxer. He has that game plan to be a boxer. He can flurry, he can knock you out. But his game plan in this fight was just to try to fight this guy with the granite chin and power. So he walked right into Simon Brown's game plan, and the fight lasted 4 rounds. He got knocked out. So what he does is, he comes back in the rematch, and there's a few fights in between. He comes back in the rematch, and second time around, he decides to outbox Simon Brown. He resorts back to his old self. He resorted back to what he had within him, and he outboxed him. He outboxed him for 12 rounds. He knew he couldn't knock him out with this crazy approach that he tried, so he just outboxed him. And that's my point. It's about using the strengths that you already possess and just refining certain things. Like Terry Norris, he's got power, he's got pop, but it wasn't going to work in the knockout fashion, so he used it in a boxing manner. He was getting the respect from Simon Brown, throwing combinations, flurries, and adding a little bit more lateral movement and using the lateral movement he already had and just adding it a little bit more uh, tech savvy, little slickness to his boxing game in this fight, versus the first fight. Just refined a few things. So for somebody like Weili, much like Terry Norris, who's already held belts and was a unified champion at junior middleweight, Weili was already at the top, right? And she got there for a reason off of what she had. So for a champion like Weili, you just have to make subtle changes to compensate for those weaknesses and break bad habits. And if certain things were never exploited, then there's no reason to change them. There's no reason to change them or take them away. You just have to say, okay, this is what I'm capable of, and we have to bring this out next time, and we have to take away these bad habits that I've been having. And that's what I got. That's just what I had kind of thought of when I was watching the fight again, and just how Zhang Weili has been moving throughout these past few interviews as far as what she's been saying and what her team's been saying. There's no big changes that need to be made. You see it all, like I said, you see it all day in boxing where guys they get knocked out in one fight, then they come back in the next and they start boxing because that's what they had. They just took a wrong approach the first time around. They said, I had this in me, but my heart told me to do this instead, right? They didn't listen to their brain. They listened to their heart. That's what Terry Norris did with Simon Brown. First fight, he wanted to knock the guy out. He wanted to knock the guy out because he felt like he kept ducking him. He wanted to get him out of there. The heart told him to do this, but he failed. Next time around, the brain told him to box, and he won, right? So the brain is telling you what to use as far as your strengths, and that's what you need to do, right? So, yeah, I just wanted to bring that to the forefront, just talk about that because, like I said, it's just too many videos saying Weili's done, Weili's not a champion, Weili's an idiot, or just crazy stuff like that. I mean, these guys, these women, they put their lives on the line, and I have to bring it the same way I did. I have to bring the same energy like I did with Deontay Wilder. Like, this situation is the same as Deontay Wilder. You know what I mean? There was excuses made. I mean, the cheating thing is still out there. I can see where Deontay Wilder was coming from with that. But moving forward, you want to fight the guy a third time, you have to make those changes and you have to accept the loss and move forward. Same as I say with Zhang Weili, same thing I'm going to say with Wilder. Like, their situation is the same. He got broken down and stopped and brutalized in that second fight with Tyson Fury, right? And everybody's saying Zhang Weili got brutalized and knocked out by Rose Namajunas in their first fight, right? The same situation. Then they come back in their rematches and rubber matches, respectively, and they try to do this whole change, and it just doesn't work. They kind of, in some ways, they kind of look unsure of themselves, or they kind of resort back to their old ways. It's the same thing. It's the same exact thing. For Wilder, he started off with a nice jab to the body, and I think he was trying to box too much, and it kind of gassed him out. Where, like I said, all he needed to do was go back and refine off the first fight and become more of a technical puncher instead of trying to become a boxer. You can't teach a guy to box a guy like Tyson Fury. You have to become a technical puncher and add more to your game as a puncher to knock this guy out. You become a boxer puncher. You set up those punches with both hands. As for like Zhang Weili in her fight, that one mistake, you don't stay on the outside with a long-rangey fighter. Number one, same as she was doing in the second fight. She should not have done that. It should have been phone booth all night. You hook, your arms are shorter, your reach is 2 inches shorter, your inch, couple inches shorter than Rose Namajunas. So you need to be on the inside. You need to be on that body. It needs to be rib night. You need to be going to those ribs. You need to be attacking the lead leg. Like she was doing. She was executing a good low kick game plan, but she just did not go to the body enough to really break Rose down. I mean, the power is getting respect from Rose. You can see that because Rose did not fully commit to letting her hands go at times. She played chess a lot in this one because I think she was thinking about the counter punches coming from Zhang Weili as well. And she was. I think Rose was a little curious as to see what she was bringing too. She was a little weary of what new changes were going to be made in her game plan, and you could see it in the fourth and fifth round where she was like, I can't give the girl a chance. I'm gonna just take her down, and we're just gonna stay here in this top position. I'm gonna just wrestle you for the rest of the round, right? So those were some of the things that Zhang Weili needed to do. Just commit to the body and stay the same fighter, but keep her hands up. Keep her hands up and keep it on the inside. Like, it's no it should not be a problem. It shouldn't feel like an embarrassing thing to go back and look at what these other fighters do as well in your division. Like I said, she's more of a technical Jessica Andrade, which could be a gift and a curse. See, Andrade is so relentless with what she does that, in a way, she's kind of ignorant to the possibilities of getting knocked out by Rose, that she'll walk right through you. The mental is very strong with her. Though we say her IQ's not high, her mental is strong. Her mental is strong. It's kill, 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 right? Whereas Zhang Weili is kill, but sometimes it's like, let me take a step back. It's kill. Oh, wait a minute. I gotta wait a minute because that counter punch might be coming. Oh, there's a feint coming. Kill, kill. Oh, let me take a step back. You know what I mean? It's kind of like when you have too much of a thought process, sometimes it can be a deadly thing, but you need that dominance factor about you to balance it out. But yeah, man. Like I said, Zhang Weili, I think she'll be back as a fighter. Will she be champion again? She could be a champion again, because I mean the belt could go from champ to champ and somehow could wind up her being matched up with, Yan Xiaonan or Marina Rodriguez, depending on who gets it next. You know what I mean? Because it all depends on Rose Namajunas if she can become a dominant champion here. Can she see every fight as a big challenge like she's been having? You know what I mean? Can she go in there and say, okay, I want to stay consistent. I want to stay active. I want to break some records. I want to break Joanna's record. I want to break Valentina's record. If she comes in with that mind state and more improved tools, then I think everybody better watch out, right? But as for Zhang Weili, if that mindset is not there and the belt continues to, play this game of hot potato and go from one person to the other, then, she could very well be that. But it's like I said, same situation like Wilder. That's why I'm just kind of like, we heard people make excuses. Everybody's human. Everybody's human, and those are part of the things, whenever you lose something, it's anger. What is it? What are the stages? Anger, guilt. You want to blame other people, different things like that. Then there's acceptance somewhere there along the way. I think that it's just a matter of her working on her game plan. No trash talk here. She got here for a reason, just like everybody else. She's never really said anything I think that was harmful to anybody except her, and we're not her, right? We're not her. So hey, let it go. Like I said, I just wanted to revisit her because that's how I do with Wilder. They're about in the same situation. You know what I mean? I can't see it in a different way. So let's just give the girl her credit. She had her title. She had her tiny title run, but I just think there's certain things that she needs to improve on. Just like when I look at Deontay Wilder, when I revisit him again, because improvements are one thing. Well, differences are one thing, but improvements are another, right? Because difference could mean something bad. It could mean something good. But improvements mean that, you are adding something to your game that's going to help benefit you along the way and help you get to where you need to be. That's going to help you break those bad habits, right? So, yeah, that's all I got on this one, guys. I just wanted to do this one on the fly. It's just been on my mind about Zhang. I like to do videos about the fighters that taste defeat sometimes because this is corner talk. You know what I mean? I don't have anything invested in either fighter, but I just like to see I like to see certain type of fighters grow when I'm fascinated with their styles, if that makes sense. I like Rose's style as a fighter, but I like Zhang Weili's style, and there's just so many things that are right there, right in front of her that she could do to make herself better. Again, like with Deontay Wilder, there's just so many things he can do to make himself better. The guy is in great shape. He's athletic to a certain extent, but just skipping out on road work, I think just really, really taken away from him and what he could have been throughout his career. No lie, I'm just being real. Some people might not like that, but that's just being real. I think Zhang Weili, she's such an athletic powerhouse on the inside that they spend too much time trying to counterpunch and stay on the outside that they're not taking full advantage of what she can do. Like she could be Andrade times 20 in there, So yeah, man. Yeah, I think improvements just need to be made in the game, and it's just something we see. And I think everybody has to accept that. Whether you love her or hate her, or you love or you hate Rose, let's be real out here. That's what we do over here. Real talk. Combo Breaker 99. Let me know in the comment section what y'all think. I am out. Subscribe. Peace.